Welcome to the Word of Mouth Podcast, your weekly rundown of the business, news, and trends shaping modern dentistry. Today, I'm joined by Dr. Mark Musso of Musso Family Dentistry in Garland, Texas. Dr. Musso has been practicing dentistry for 32 years, with a special focus the last 16 years on sleep dentistry. He is a clinical advisor and mentor for several other dentists and is passionate about spreading the word about Airway and addressing the signs and symptoms of sleep disorders. His second company, Harmonia, educates dentists on sleep dentistry, and he is a diplomat of the American Sleep and Breathing Academy, or ASBA. He's treated over 1,000 patients with airway issues and has learned and practiced many different methods for treating the signs and symptoms of sleep disorders, because there isn't a one-size-fits-all approach for sleep dentistry. Welcome to the podcast, Dr. Mark. So excited to have you here.
Thank you, Jeff. Thanks for having me.
Super excited to have you. So, we're going to start with our first question. Take us back to the beginning. What was it that inspired you to get into dentistry?
So, just for general dentistry, my dad was a dentist, right? So my mom was a hygienist. My brother's a dentist. It's kind of in the blood. And, we watched my dad growing up as kids, and we enjoyed the life we had. And he had the weekends off, and it was always, some good family time. So I've realized how important that is in my life, and I'm glad I made this decision because I get Fridays off and I can help the kids. During when they were younger, I was teaching and coaching and having fun with them. But it's been a rewarding career, and so the general dentistry was my love for a long time. I loved extractions and implants, but then what really got me excited was sleep dentistry, and that started about in 2010. Really started to kind of look into why I was having problems, and I realized that my whole family's got issues. From my dad had issues, and my brothers, and now my family. So it's been it's still, the dentistry is my love, but it's altered into this different way that I treat here at Musso Family Dentistry. My brother's doing general dentistry, and we have an associate, and he does all the crown and bridge stuff that I can't do any longer because I don't have the time. So that's kind of where I am in my career. I just do TMJ issues and orthodontic issues and airway issues.
Yeah, so talk about kind of the intersection of the TMJ, the orthodontics, and the airway. How do those things all fit together?
Absolutely, yeah. They're actually all one. A lot of times you'll find out that people who have airway issues will clench a lot or have some issues with their joints. And so you got to look in your patient individually. Everybody has different signs and symptoms. But typically TMJ is super related to airway problems. And so also the orthodontics, if your teeth aren't in the right position, the jaw's not in the right position from growth and development, and we're trying to push it in different ways, it affects the joints. And then at night, if you're not sleeping well, you're going to clench and you're grind, and you're going to make your teeth and joints, upset. So it's all together, and that's the amazing thing about airway. And you can't really be afraid of TMJ. It's kind of sounded scary because we didn't know much about it. They didn't really teach us that in dental school. In fact, they didn't teach us airway. So these are all things that we're having to learn on our own with the collaboration from the medical field. But in the orthodontic field, this is all one thing together that we're working on.
That's awesome. So before we dive deeper into the sleep and TMJ and all of those things, you're located in Garland, Texas.
Right.
Tell us, what do you love most about serving that community?
So my dad started here in 1971, and I've watched Garland literally grow up. There was fields across the way, and now there's apartments, and now they're putting new apartments in over here. So it's been my life, right? So I've seen it change and develop, and I've seen grandchildren of my patients that my dad saw, right? So different generations, we're still seeing them. It's funny to watch, when they were little kids, and I'm 58 years old now. Now some of these kids have kids, and I'm still treating their kids. So it's been a family thing that we've been treating all these patients in Garland. It's been a wonderful thing.
Yeah, that's something that's super unique about a lot of dentists, but you in particular, with your dad being kind of the founder of the dental clinic, is through your whole life, you've seen patients grow up, get married, have kids. Those kids grow up, get married, have kids, and
It's
it's really you're a part of that community, and that's really what makes independent dentists so unique.
Yeah, and we were my dad's office was in 1971 built just a little ways down from ours, and we grew out of it, right? So we moved just a little bit down the way, and Mike and I built our this building that we're in right now in 2004. Started getting it going, and my dad passed away in 2005, so he actually didn't get to see the whole building being built, but I know he's looking down and seeing it and just really proud of us. So it's been a good ride.
Yeah, that is such a special thing for you to have those relationships both with your family. A lot of people say don't go into business with your family, but a lot of dentists have figured it out. So
Right. As long as my
um,
brother does what I tell him to do, then when we're good.
that's exactly right. Exactly right. So let's dive a little bit more into it. You treat the signs and symptoms of sleep disorders, including sleep apnea for both children and adults, as well as the orthodontics and TMJ. Why do patients specifically seek you out, and what makes your approach different than maybe other experts in the medical field, as well as other dentists?
Sleep apnea, we say sleep apnea, we call it sleep disorders, we call it, airway dentistry. But it's really hasn't had a specialty by itself. And the more we know about it, the more we learn about it, it's a rabbit hole. We keep learning more and more. So it really wasn't identified or treated or taught in dental school. So once we got out and kind of realized, and we're just, we're treating decay and gingivitis and everything, but we're missing the big picture. So once it kind of the light bulb went off, and I've learned from some amazing people, and once you learn this, it's amazing. You see it in yourself or your family, and you can't unsee it, and you become almost addicted to trying to figure out more and more and learn more because it's exciting, and we have the answers to so much that I didn't even realize we did. And it hit home because I knew my dad, he had sleep apnea undiagnosed, right? And I don't think we were really checking it back then, and we didn't really understand. We just thought it was a big heavy person's disease, and there's so many sleep disorders that are not big heavy people. But my dad, I know he was snoring and stopped breathing, and I know he had apnea, and I believe he died from complications of sleep apnea. And to think that I could have had something to play and to help him, I wish I would have known that kind of thing. So it kind of hurts that way, but it's also taught me to learn to look in other patients that I see. So all these patients that come to me, I'm not just looking at teeth and gums. We're looking at the bigger picture. And Jeff, we've changed so many lives here. It's crazy because their trajectory, they might have been, stuck in bedwetting or other issues, and now we have a way to get them good sleep and help them understand what the problem is. And we work close. We can't just do this alone. This isn't just dentistry, right? It got to be collaboration. You got to have orthodontists and myofunctional therapists and ENTs and other just professional MDs because and pediatric physicians, right? They're so busy looking at their stuff that sometimes it's not their fault, but they'll miss things, their signs and symptoms that we see daily while we're just checking to see if their teeth have cavities or seeing them in the cleaning. So it's something that our eyes have changed. The way we look at things now has changed. And so that's what I believe is different here because what we do now, we're not just cleaning teeth and fixing teeth. We're advising, we're teaching, we're coaching, and we're helping people with sleep disorders.
Yeah, you mentioned the pediatric and some of these specialists. I know you work with an ENT down there in Texas. Dr. West, I believe his name is.
Dr. Jeff West, yeah, ENT, super nice guy. I've been working with him for over 10 years, and the ENT and the dentist work in the same field, right? We should know what's going on, but we don't know what they do, and they don't know what we do. But when we learn it together, he and I have just clicked, and we've really become good friends. And we were actually born on the exact same day in the same year, so we're brothers from another. But he understands what we need, and I understand what he needs to help our patients get healthy. To the point where he and I now coach other dentists and coach anybody who's willing to learn, because it's something that it's not really, there's not enough education out there. And I believe, and I kind of kid about this, saying, you can't have an airway dentist without an ENT, because you got to have this together. This is the 1-2 punch. And the myofunctional therapy is a big part of what we're learning. They've been underappreciated for years, and no one really still understands how important their role is. But we're teaching it and showing them that that's an important role in this. So the traditional medical world is not looking at this exactly, because they don't understand what the dental part is, and we didn't really know what we had to offer either. So it's become a really good collaborative effort.
Excellent. And you mentioned one of your hygienists is a myofunctional therapist.
So actually, two of my hygienists have been through the program and become myofunctional therapists, and one's gone on to do other things. But I'm encouraging my whole team to be looking for these signs and symptoms so much that's why one of them wanted to become a myofunctional therapist, because she saw how important this is, and that cleaning teeth is important. But when you're able to find out what's going on here, and you teach the tongue is God's natural palatal expander, and if it's not working properly, then all these other things go off track. And so that's what's so important about her. And then the nasal, like I was talking about Dr. West, the nasal breathing. If you don't have the nasal breathing proper and the tongue function proper, then we're going to have some issues. So those two, that's what's so important about what they do for us.
Yeah, that makes a ton of sense. So you talked a lot about signs and symptoms and kind of what to look out for. Explain to me a little bit, especially for a pediatric case, what should parents be looking for? A lot of adults, they know if they're not sleeping well, they can tell you they're tired. Kids are a little bit of a different animal.
You got it right. Kids can't articulate that they had a horrible night, right? If you sleep poorly one night, you can't focus the next day, you know how you feel. These kids sometimes are going through this all day, every day, and for weeks and years and months. We had some kids that we told parents to go record your child. Just go watch and see if they're snoring or grinding their teeth. It's not normal, and we think it's okay for adults to snore. It's not. So it's been a problem with normal. Let me give you this. So we've lost the understanding of normal versus common. We think it's normal that you can snore and all these things. It's not normal. It's become common. So we all say, oh, it's normal, because we see it so often. But it's disease. It's constriction of the airflow. It's pathology. We need to be able to understand and see what these signs and symptoms are. And they could be subtle, or they could be really big. And some people don't connect some things like bedwetting to sleep disorders. A sleep disorder is someone who is not breathing well through their nose. And if you're mouth breathing, you're not getting good deep sleep. We'll go into that in a second. But for kids who are bedwetters, once we get them nasal breathing and closing the mouth and tongue position, many times that bedwetting goes away. And ADD and ADHD signs and symptoms, those are just like if you didn't sleep well, you feel horrible the next day. You can't learn. You can't sit in a chair and be ready for that teacher. So there's misdiagnosis, I believe. And not everybody, I'm not going to, overgeneralize this, but if something like this is going on, little tiny signs, it's just get your child to get an airway evaluation. We see in the mouth, when we look in the mouth, there are signs that I see that I can tell you, I know that child has not been either breathing through their nose well or tongue position, because the teeth change the growth and development when it's not in the proper function. So all these things, I know I'm kind of babbling here back and forth, but the two main things, if you don't breathe well through your nose, where the air is warmed, humidified, filtered, and sterilized, then your body doesn't get into good deep sleep, and you're not using your diaphragm. When you mouth breathe, you're kind of using the upper chest, you're not filling your full lung up, and you're not going to be getting into that parasympathetic mode where our body rests and digests. And so many people, adults and kids, are living life in this quiet desperation where they don't know what's going on. Their body's in this fight or flight all night long. It's literally inflammation, and so your body's suffering. So what we do here is we try to figure out. There's a lot of different things, but they all a lot of times point to the same thing, and we just got to see what's going on. It's not the bullet every time. Sometimes I'm just the coach, and I'm going to say, hey, I can help you here, but go do this first, or vice versa. So it's a team approach, like I keep saying.
Yeah, I mean, it makes a ton of sense. And well, every time I listen to you talk about it, I always am very self-conscious about where my tongue is in my mouth. So maybe let's talk a little bit about the tongue. And you mentioned kind of getting to that next.
Yeah, so our tongue is God's natural palatal expander, like I said, and it needs to sit in the roof of the mouth, right? And it doesn't just sit in the front; it sits in the whole mouth, the whole roof of the mouth. So, and then when you swallow, it should come backwards. So many kids have a tongue thrust, or their tongue's not able to do the proper swallow technique. So a lot of the myofunctional therapists are real keen on getting this taken care of and looked and diagnosed. But essentially, if you are mouth breathing, your tongue can't get to the roof of your mouth, right? If your tongue is sitting in the roof of your mouth, you cannot mouth breathe. So these kids who have a low, we call it like a low tongue posture where their tongue lays low, and that means their mouth's probably going to open up and they're going to mouth breathe. And it could be a habit or it could be a necessity. But if you can't breathe through your nose well, you're going to start mouth breathing. And when that tongue falls down and it's not sitting in the roof of the mouth, your cheeks win the war. So your cheeks are pushing in because you're like this. And so it starts causing that upper jaw to get narrow. And when we see that narrowness, we know that there's not tongue space and that the tongue's laying low. There's other reasons. It could be a tongue tie. You've probably heard of people being tongue tied. There's a lot of people, when the children are born, they don't always get checked to see if their tongue is too tight. And there's a lot of people who will teach you how to get it taken care of and released so that you can have full mobility of the tongue. But if your tongue is tied, that's another reason you can't get it to the roof of your mouth. And so, like I said, it comes down to really two things. Sprinkle a little genetics on it, but the two things are the epigenetics of not breathing well through your nose, and there could be, we'll talk about that right out here, but and then tongue position, not with your lips closed, tongue to the roof of the mouth, and breathing through your nose. That's proper function. So and then the nose. Well, the nose is, if you can't breathe well through your nose, there could be other issues like a deviated septum or allergies, or tonsils or adenoids you've heard of, right? So Dallas is one of the worst in allergies in the United States, and so we see a lot of kids just suffering, and some in adults too, right? And not even really knowing that that's not normal, right? Or wow, I wish I could. They don't know what good breathing is until they get good breathing. So it's kind of wild here in Texas. We're fighting a lot of allergy issues.
Yeah, I mean, that all makes a ton of sense. We've talked about a lot of things to look for, signs, symptoms, some misconceptions and misunderstandings that people have. What would you say is the number one biggest misconception that people have when they come sit in your dental chair?
So many times they come in and they're like, what am I doing here at a dental office talking about bedwetting? And so they don't realize some of the things that we can do to help them. And so we have some amazing technology that can really help us get to what we can do to help us diagnose better, right? I have a CBCT X-ray machine. It's a 3D view, and without it, I don't know how I would practice now. But it should be standard of care. It's the most amazing tool I have to be able to really look, and you can't diagnose off of it, but it really helps you put the little pieces of the puzzle together. So, but as far as misconceptions, I don't think they realize they go to their MD anytime they have a problem, and a lot of way we treat stuff now is give them a pill, or there's not really, or there's other ways to do something like that. But maybe we can maybe look a little deeper and say, let's find the root cause. And I don't think the public kind of realizes that root cause is a dental problem sometimes. And this is like a medical problem with a dental solution. So we need to teach and get awareness out of to what the dentist can actually do, and the dentist needs to start learning this. That we, some of the I didn't know what I didn't know before, and there's still so much that we're learning. But if you don't go to a dentist and try to figure out, what's going on, if you're tired all the time, if you're waking up unrested, if you have ADD issues or bedwetting or anger issues, just think it's all related to when someone doesn't sleep well. Think of how you feel that next day. Your body suffers. You get worn down. It affects every organ in your body if you're not getting into deep sleep, where your body regenerates new cells and gets rid of toxins out of your brain, literally. So our deep sleep is one of the most important things than medicine and anything else you can take to make your body healthy.
So talking about kind of the overlap rather of medicine, pediatricians or general medicine, what should people be asking? What signs should parents be talking to the pediatrician about, and what should pediatricians be looking for in order to kind of refer them to a dentist?
Well, that's a great question, and that's one of our issues, that we're not having the collaboration that our medical world needs. And so when parents are in, they know their moms are innate about they're going to find a reason. They're going to find the answer. They see the problem, and if they get told that something's going to fix it and it doesn't for all these years, then they're going to go find their own answers. And with the web, Google, everything, we could find everything in a minute. So sometimes, Googling is good, and go find out what your signs and symptoms could be related to. And many times now I see it more and more. We were talking about this 15 years ago, and it wasn't out there as much. Now it's starting to see some good literature and some good stuff in the internet. So if you're having some issues, talk to your pediatrician. There could be a lot of going on, but unfortunately, sometimes the pediatricians aren't looking for what the dental issues are. And once we have that ability to teach the pediatricians and the MDs what we do in the dental world, it would really facilitate getting everybody healthier. And we're just, we're always trying to put this out there, and it's a struggle. So I appreciate you doing things like this, just so, who knows, this might come across, someone who's suffering with some things that they've been trying to figure out, and it could be a simple, trip to your dentist.
Hopefully that is the case, is that this does get the word out more. If people are interested, whether they're in Texas and can come visit you in person, or across the country, if someone wants to get in touch with you, a pediatrician, another dentist, whoever, what's the best way for them to reach out?
Oh, wow. You know what? If you could leave all my information on the end of this, but I'd be happy to talk to anybody. I'm not weird about leaving my cell phone number out or my email. Because I believe that there's, we got to be able to keep communicating and sharing. I was taught by some amazing people, and if they didn't teach me, I couldn't have helped all my patients here, or my children, or my friends, right? So this is information I want to give out happily and openly and whatever. So at my office, you can always get a hold of me, at 972-840-8477. My email is drmusso@sbcglobal.net. But there's so many other things that, like, Dr. West and I teach, or we got little collaboration groups that we put together, that we get together quarterly. There's always learning things. So just get a hold of me, and I'll get you to the right people.
Awesome. And we'll link all of that contact information in the description of the video and the podcast, wherever you're getting this. So I really appreciate you coming on, Dr. Mark. One final question I want to leave you with is, how do you see the patient experience at Musso Family Dentistry shifting over the next few years?
Well, I've seen it shift so much just in the since my dad, right? So I've seen it go, so many different ways. And the thing that we pride ourselves on is service and being, we're real. We're going to tell you, if we can't do something, we're going to get you to the right people. We're going to, we hire the best. And I truly believe that that's, one of the best things that we have. We have an associate that it's a little weird when you let someone else come into your office and work on your patients, but we found one that's amazing and he's so good. And so I love that anybody we put in this little atmosphere that we treat our patients so well.
Yeah, having been in your practice, I can unequivocally recommend going to Musso if you're in the Garland, Texas area. It does feel like a family. The patients feel like they're part of the family. The staff is all super happy to be at work, and
Amen.
you guys have done an excellent job.
I appreciate that. That's a nice compliment. Thank you. I really appreciate that, and I appreciate what you're doing, Jeff. This is great. What you helping getting awareness out for us.
Awesome. Well, really appreciate the conversation. And we'll look forward to having you on in the future when there's updates to these kinds of things. And hopefully a lot of people can get in touch with you and continue learning about these things. I know for me, it's super exciting. I have an 8-month-old, and I know I want her dentist to be looking at these kinds of things. I know for me, I've been looking into them for myself, and so this is really super important. So really appreciate what you're doing.
I love it, man. It keeps going. It's like a ripple effect. It keeps going.